in this video about the spiritual awakening journey, I want to go back again and talk about emotions. We talked about this in another video, but I want to explain a little bit more in detail what happens. So as you progress on your journey, you're going to increase in frequency. That means more light comes in to your body and being, to your emotional centers, and things that have been stored in there start to come to the surface. They bubble up. They start to, be more obvious to you. Things that you have suppressed, perhaps, or things from other lifetimes, or things that you just haven't dealt with. All of that stuff in your emotional body starts to bubble up and come up and out. This is a good thing. It's not comfortable. It's not necessarily an easy experience to deal with, especially if you're empathic or sensitive or both. But it is something that's a very necessary part of the process, because the whole idea of spiritual awakening is, again, embodying more light, increasing your frequency, raising your vibration, all those fun woo-woo buzzwords. But it's real. As you embody more light and increase your frequency, that stuff that used to be stored inside of you no longer can be there, because as you move forward, you can't take it with you. It drags you down. It weighs you down. It's heavy. It pulls you backward. It tries to sink you. And so you have to address your wounds. You have to work on healing yourself if you want to move forward and progress. And inherent within the spiritual awakening journey is that natural forward movement, that natural forward progression. In my personal experience, once you start, it's not really something that you want to go back to the old, because it feels so good to free yourself of the things that held you back and weighed you down. You want to keep moving forward. And it's not just a desire, but it's part of the energy. It's part of the way it works to awaken, is a natural forward movement, a natural forward progression. So be aware that if you start to become more emotional, you're probably just unlocking and unblocking stored emotions that have been there for a long time. And I'll share a personal experience. The first, 1 to 3 years of my awakening, if not longer, I started crying. I had held back tears for many years. And when I started to allow that to open up, I cried and cried and cried. And I felt like maybe something's wrong with me. Maybe I'm psychotic. Maybe this isn't healthy. But I was lucky enough to have an ability to zoom out and have a greater perspective and understanding of things. And I understood that what was happening was that I was simply releasing all the things that I had shoved down and suppressed in the past. It needed to come out. And something that was so helpful for me in that process was someone told me something about how tears are a blessing to the earth. They're jewels of light that fall from your eyes. It was so poetic, and bless the earth. And when that person told me that, I gave myself the permission and the freedom to let it flow. And it was so beautiful to just let that emotion move through me. Now, as I've progressed, I've become a more emotionally regulated, more emotionally mature. I deal with things as they come up. I don't let them bottle up. I've become less reactive, more grounded into 0 point energy, observing emotion and letting it flow as well as needed. So that's all part of it too. But don't be surprised if all of a sudden you're more emotional, or all of a sudden all this stuff is coming up for you to deal with, because it's supposed to. That's part of raising your frequency, which is part of the spiritual path. If this was helpful for you, I invite you to go to creationtemple.com/donate and give a little something. Let me know you appreciated this content.